Oh, that's coming. A little foreshadowing of what's coming on the program.
Really?
You know, I know it's sort of the same genre, War and Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? Fred White passed away, didn't he?
The drummer.
And in sadder news, your cousin, one of the Pointer Sisters, James, also passed away. Yeah. Speaking of passing,
Rest in power.
Yes, sir.
yep, that's exactly right. Okay. Yeah, coming up to the program, Dave Palais.
Who?
In Latin is jerk, 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 jerk.
Wow.
And so it begins.
Mike Costa is my Latin teacher. You know how much ammo I've given Palais for Costa?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I should be walking
given
around
you
like
some-
a Swiss cheese.
There's footage.
I've given you ammo on him.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
You know,
You're fair.
yes.
If you look in the dictionary, Dave Palais, it says sea jerk.
I thought his nickname was Shaves His Back.
That's that too, amongst other things.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
David Luci is a good friend and a regular member of the program. He, of course, is the CEO and president of a company called Acurx Pharmaceuticals. Their stock symbol is ACXP if you're interested in taking a look at that. But you can go to acurxpharma.com. What's really interesting here is not only the malady that they have chosen, which is C. difficile, but what I want to talk about even more today is about going into 2023 and about how many antibiotics we're taking and the fact that it's becoming we're becoming resistant to antibiotics, and it is so important for a newly approved antibiotic in a new class of antibiotics, as opposed to just being a generation of existing class antibiotics. And the guy to talk about this is a good friend and great part of the program, David Luci. Dave, great to see you. Happy New Year. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Sully.
I see you're down in the
Thanks for having
basement.
me on.
I see you're down in the basement today.
Absolutely.
The lab. This is where he concocts all of the. Hey, talk about that. The fact that I get scared when my 94-year-old dad has to go to the hospital. You know, the old people shouldn't be in the hospital because of that very reason. I get afraid when somebody's got to take antibiotics these days because I think it's a crapshoot on whether they're going to work or not because we're becoming so resistant. Am I overreacting, David, or are we on the road to that?
No, we are on the road to that, and the CDC and the WHO on their websites, you can see that. There's publications everywhere about that. And, you know, they say that we're on our way to a post-antibiotics era where a simple infection can kill you. Kind of like when you're watching an old John Wayne movie and you see, you know, some cowboy, like, sick with, like, someone wiping his brow with
Well, it's because they dipped the arrow in manure before that went through his liver.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and the reason is because the antibiotics industry has been broken for so long because hedge funds and other sources of money are putting money into more profitable things like oncology.
Yeah.
And they're just now fixing that with something called the Pasteur Act, which is part of the Defense Production Act, the CARES Act, and we expect that to be approved this year. But
David, if you think in terms of that, if you have a serious infection, I mean, at the end of the day, the danger is going septic, right? And the danger is going in the hospital, and then obviously it's lethal at that point. And one of the scary parts of this thing is when people are getting antibiotics and they're becoming ineffective. So talk about that existing class of antibiotics, and then talk about the new class and what you guys are up to with it, because I think this is pretty groundbreaking.
So new generations of old antibiotics are like amoxicillin to penicillin.
Right.
They're all over the place, and you know the bacteria, the bugs, they have an easier time figuring out that this is a distant cousin of penicillin, for example.
Right.
We have a brand new class of antibiotics. They're called polymerase 3C inhibitors. We inhibit the polymerase 3C enzyme, which is the primary catalyst or builder of new DNA in gram-positive bacterial cells. And that's what we target and kill. And we're able to do it effectively. We're in phase 2B clinical trials now. We expect to be done, fairly soon, within the next 3 to 6 months. And then we're on to phase 3, which is the last phase before FDA approval.
Sure.
David, I recently saw a commercial, a medical commercial, and C. difficile was mentioned. Is the public becoming more aware of this?
The public is becoming more aware of it because the CDC and WHO are now pounding, the pavement with, information about it. You're not going to hear a lot from hospitals about C. diff or nursing homes because, that's not exactly a great calling card to come to our facility.
Sure.
So, it's a huge problem. There's 500,000 Americans every year that get it. And at last check, about 29,000 deaths every year. And people come into contact it in healthcare facilities, and we're here with a drug that is right now, the data looks like it's, completely set for frontline therapy.
So let's talk about that before I let you out of here today, David. By the way, David Luci, President and CEO of a company called Acurx Pharmaceuticals. ACXP is their stock symbol. Tell me about the arc of that FDA story. If you were to, I know you can't tell us everything as you're a CEO of a public company, but this is looking more and more promising with respects to that arc of that FDA story, correct?
Yes, we're doing a double-blind clinical trial right now at 28 trial sites, and we're getting such good data that there's a possibility that we're able to end the trial early due to success. In other words, if we can establish non-inferiority prior to doing the previously scheduled 64 patients, because we've had such great data with the primary endpoint. Then that's what we'll do. So things are going so well that we think we're going to be able to do that in the next few months.
Oh, there goes Trace, writing away. Trace is taking notes on the stock symbol, calling his wife up. All that stuff. David, we got to get you back in studio here. Or we have to get you out to San Diego soon enough. David Luci, thanks, pal. I really appreciate it. Once again, David Luci, President and CEO, Acurx Pharmaceuticals. Are you worried about going to? By the way, ACXP is that stock symbol. Are you worried about going into a
hospital?
Hospital?
No.
No? Okay.
My dad recently spent about a week and a half in a hospital.
Yeah.
So, my whole time I was worried
You guys,
about him.
are you sketchy about that, Jamie? I am too, man. Yeah. I wasn't such a wuss before, but now I talk to David, now I'm completely afraid. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. And stuff. All right, that does it for us. Let's get out of here today. Jared Coleman is our director. Curtis Matovich, our assistant director. James East, right there on camera, our music director. We got more directors than a Hollywood movie, man. Chloe Doan is our floor director. Hello. David Commatory, lead producer, stage manager. T-Bone Stolnak. I don't even know what he does, but I'm glad he's here, and he's always going to be here. Devin Doan, digital live content producer. Bianca Dribbledale, producer. Eric. We have a lot of people here. See you tomorrow.